Hello everybody and welcome back to Keep It Real, episode 14. Long awaited episode, that is for sure. In fact, I almost can't remember what we were doing. That's a lie, I know what I need to do. So, it's been a while actually, I haven't done one of these episodes for a while. And I'm pretty glad to be getting back into it. There's lots of reasons why there's been so much of a delay, which I'll talk about. This will probably be a very talky episode. I would have thought. But before I get on to talking too much, we're going to head straight down to the farm when the road's clear. There we go. So yeah, in terms of what we've got to do today, it's pretty set really. We've been waiting for this month for a while. Yeah, just pull out in front of me. Good idea. We need to get on with planting potatoes actually. So we're going to head straight to the farm, just do our usual kind of check-in, make sure the ducks are doing alright, which they absolutely should be. But we'll get the tractor and we'll make a long slow drive back to the shop so we can get this potato planter. I don't know if I'm going to buy it or I don't know if I'm going to lease it. We'll have to have a look at the price because I honestly cannot remember. But in terms of, why has there been such a delay? I always say, I like these episodes because I can talk normal. When I do the roleplay, I have to kind of be in character all the time, and I don't get to say normal things and talk to people. But it's been a bit of a nightmare recently. Been a bit of a nightmare. Quite a few things have gone wrong. So let's jump in the tractor, make our way. Oh, I've left the fertilizer spreader on. We don't want that on there. Press the right buttons. There we go. Yeah, so it has been an absolute nightmare. You'll probably notice recently I've put quite a bit of effort into the roleplay story mode. And that's because I really enjoy it. If you haven't watched it, please do, because that's kind of my, out of all the different kind of modes I play and videos I record, the roleplay story mode is something that certainly takes the most amount of time, but it's what I have to put the most effort into. So please do check that out if you haven't. But yeah, I've probably posted 4, maybe 5 episodes of that one series alone over the last few weeks, and none of these and none of anything else. And it's not because I'm prioritising it, although I am a little bit, because I've got a really cool story, at least I think I have anyway. But the second main reason is because I've just had a bit of a recorder's nightmare. And I guess these things happen once in a while, but man, it's made me pretty... It's kind of put me off the game, actually. And it's not the game's fault. But, first of all, so not the last episode, not the moving episode, but the 2 episodes before that when I started the harvest. That was actually a long episode. That was my plan. The whole harvest was actually going to be in one episode. But, for some reason, an hour into my 2.5 hour recording, my recording software stopped recording, and I don't know why. So I had to essentially kind of improvise it a little bit. Make one shorter episode out of the hour it did record, which is why the episode was a little bit shorter. But then, because I'd saved the game, quit out of the game, and then at that point realised that I didn't actually have recordings, I had to actually go back into the game, try and backtrack my kind of position, I guess, where I actually was with regards to what fields I'd harvested, what I hadn't harvested, and I had to use the easy dev tools just to kind of reset, and then I had to re-record that whole episode again, which is pretty frustrating, to be honest, because I do kind of improvise. I know where I want to start an episode, I know where I want to finish an episode, but everything in between goes with the flow. It just kind of comes naturally. So everything I did naturally for that hour and a half of lost recordings, I had to then try and remember what I did, and almost script it to work out in a similar kind of way, and it was just frustrating. It's not really how I like to play it. Now let's just check in the shop a minute in between talking. Obviously we want to look at used. Nothing there that we can even afford. although a new tractor is something we're going to be wanting at some point. But anyway, let's jump straight into, it's actually going to be under planters, isn't it? Did I actually activate the mod? I'm sure I have. I'm sure I have. Interesting. Maybe I didn't. Let's check. Potatoes, is it in here? Yes. Cool. So that's what we want. Now actually it doesn't cost a lot, does it? £1,100. That's not much at all. But we only have 4,357. So I think I am going to lease it. Because at this point, we probably won't make that much money out of actually buying, out of actually selling the potatoes, sorry, I should say. So does this matter? No, because it costs more money. Let's just lease that. So £56. Honestly, you can't go wrong with that. Not at all. Okay, great. Right, we're going to pick that up now. 56 quid, you can't go wrong with that, can you? £56. So yeah, I explained my first dilemma. That was only the first of what felt like many, to be honest. So after re-recording everything, an extra hour and a half's worth of recording again, which I'm sure you can imagine is pretty frustrating. It's annoying, I think, even if you were playing a game and you lost your save and had to do it all again, that's frustrating. But the fact that I'm trying to kind of talk through it and record it just made it even worse. So I lost some momentum. I probably put me off for about a week, maybe, of actually playing the game. Now, no hoses or anything there. Good. I'll tell you what I didn't do. I didn't buy any bags of potatoes or seed potatoes. So yeah, while I do that in the background, that was frustrating. The second issue was the following episode. So this was the last episode, in fact, the one where we were moving. That recorded fine in terms of video, but it didn't record the sound. It didn't record any of my talking. And again, so annoying. So two instances in a row. In actual fact, I recorded this one directly after recording the one before. The one before didn't record at all. And then this one didn't record the sound. I don't know what was going on. Very, very annoying. I had to reinstall OBS. I don't know if it was an update, maybe something was out of date, but yeah, it was irritating. So I then had to voice over probably 50-60% of that last episode, and people I spoke to, nobody noticed, which is amazing. So I think I did a good enough job that you can actually tell that I had to voice over that episode. But yeah, that was also very difficult, because how do you know what you said when you improvise it? When it's not scripted, you make it up. You're then re-watching back the video you recorded and try to say everything that you said. It was hard. And again, that episode ended up being probably my shortest episode I've done, which was like 20-25 minutes. Really annoying, really annoying. But we got through it. Seems like OBS is working properly now. Now, just in the background, what do I actually need to buy for potatoes? Because it isn't seed, is it? Okay, I think maybe it is just seed. Don't know, do you know, I haven't actually done potatoes on FS22. Did them quite a bit in FS19, but I've just avoided it. I've completely avoided it. So this is a bit of a learning experience for me, to be honest. Now, do we need to pick that up? Yes, we do. And the bags, I don't know why, but the bags spawned out the front of the shop. Which, I don't know, a bit weird. But I guess in terms of keep it real, sort of makes sense, doesn't it? Spawned just outside this little loading area here. Okay, right, we'll load them up in the background. So yeah, so that was my dilemma of all the recording, which I got through. Like, yeah, finally I got through it. Is that working? Yeah. And then, just to make it even more annoying, my Elite controller stopped working. Yeah, that was frustrating. It didn't stop working, actually. What it did was it locked the left analog stick, like the walking analog, completely to the left. The controller thought I was holding the button to the left. So whenever I tried to play, I was just walking around in circles to the left. Very annoying. I checked the warranty. I thought, you know, no problem. It's quite a new control. It cost me 160 quid. It's no problem. I'll just take it back, swap it over. No, of course, it was out of warranty, wasn't it? So I got my little toolkit out. Didn't want to give in on that, and I managed to fix it. Took me hours to figure out what was even wrong with it. Actually, what I found, which I guess pretty much sums up having kids to a certain extent, what I found was what looked like some form of liquid residue dried out on the chipboard. And after spending hours and hours cleaning it, taking it apart, taking each of the boards apart. Xbox Elite controls, by the way, are not easy to get into. But after doing that anyway, I finally managed to get it to work, and it's working pretty good now actually, no problems at all. So I'm pretty happy, and that's why I'm back into recording. So hopefully that kind of sums it up anyway. I know I've been talking quite a bit, but just kind of explains, I guess, why there's been a little bit of a delay. Now, I am being a bit cheeky, by the way. I've just rested the bags on top. What that does mean is I'm going to have to take a bit of care getting back. But, I mean, the tractor doesn't exactly drive fast anyway, does it? Oh. Okay. I'm going to have to take a lot of care. I might have to dump these. I might have to dump these on the side of the road midway through. Maybe we can get to our drive and then just pop them in the driveway. Yeah, I overbought, obviously. So anyway, yeah, we're back to it. Plant the potatoes. Probably not a great deal more to do. Maybe, depending on the episode, I think this is going to be quite a talky episode and not too much of a skipping one. So it might be a long episode, it might be a bit shorter than normal, just while I get back into the swing of it. But I think I'm going to end the episode this time round on heading to the pub and just seeing if there's any contracts just available, really. Just so, look, you know, we need to top that money up. I mean, we're down under £4,000 again now. Money is hard to get. Now seems like the kind of time to get the bigger contracts in, the fertilising contracts. So we need to make the most of that before they start to disappear as the seasons change. What I do really want to do, well, there's a couple of things I want to do in the next couple of episodes actually. In between, the potatoes growing and starting to germinate, I want to look at a greenhouse, plant a greenhouse, just start making a little bit of income maybe for some kind of base game tomatoes or potatoes. I don't want to go for anything too easy. I don't want to go... it had to fall off, didn't it? And rolled all the way down the hill. So yeah, I don't want to... I have used before the open garden mod, and that, by the way, is an amazing mod. But I wonder if that will just rest in there. But also, I don't want to make it too easy. So I'm going to use probably a base game one, or one that you have to put seed in as well as water. Maybe even the one with fertilizer, a bit like I used back in the Somerset survival series, one of the first series I ever did actually. That was a good one. It produced a realistic amount of goods, but it also took a little bit of effort to produce it. So I'll probably go with something like that. We've got plenty of places to actually place it, somewhere in that yard. Oh dear, this is not going very well at all, is it? This is not going well at all. This is one of the only kind of planters or seeders where the bags don't actually kind of drop inside. So the other ones, the bags kind of fall inside, so it works as a perfect little holding area. But this one, I guess, more realistically, sits on the top. It's not a bad thing, is it? The second thing I want to do, and it's kind of starting to do something, and that's get ready for cows. Now, I feel that the earlier we get cows, the better, if I'm honest, because they will start to produce manure, or slurry even, depending on which one we end up going for, or both, which would be ideal. That is essentially free fertilizer, completely free fertilizer, isn't it? So it's going to cost us a little bit of money to get the various kind of small trailer or the tank to spread the slurry, but that in the long run, or probably after a couple of harvests, is a heck of a lot better than buying bags of fertilizer. That's for sure. There's absolutely no doubt about that. So that is what we need to do. Now it's nice to see, by the way, thank you for pointing out in the last episode, the eggs are starting to spawn. It's a bit weird that they don't show up in the actual animal screen, but they are starting to spawn. So in a way, I guess the fact that they don't show up in the animal screen means that you probably get a much bigger capacity for holding the eggs. I will check that again in a second. I do need to check in on the ducks anyway and make sure they're alright, but I'm pretty certain in the last episode, although it was like three weeks ago I guess, we filled the food right up to the brim. Certainly still looking pretty full. Let's have a look a minute. Where's that trigger point? It's here somewhere. Okay, let's just do it through the pause menu. Can't be bothered with that. So yeah, so we did fill it right up. Of course, the issue was I overfilled it with base food. I did that as a trial. Didn't work out, by the way. Don't do that. Not with Maize Plus. That was a mistake on my part for definite. So yeah, see, look, we're still showing 0 pieces of eggs. Which is why when I was looking at it, I was thinking, what's going on? Surely they would have produced eggs by now. This is ridiculous. And then, of course, they appeared over here in the meantime. So I wonder how many pieces of eggs we actually have. So, according to that, there's 5 eggs there. Looks like a lot more than 5 eggs, doesn't it? Yes. For certain. But they are producing. So the eggs, as they produce them, go to here, and they don't actually show in that menu. So remember that for next time. Now, what I did say was actually, now that I'm here, and I'm realising I've got to try and make this huge jump again, is I was going to exchange that mod for a different one, just because, I mean, it's changed position again. I don't know if you can remember the last episode, but that's definitely moved. There is no way, with my kind of over-the-top landscaping, there's no way that I would have placed it like that. Look at it. So for some reason, every time I load the save, it moves. And it must be mod. It must be some sort of conflict with the mod. Maybe a small little bug. So we're going to have to change that out. We'll have to swap that at some point. In actual fact, let's see how this goes. But we might even have to swap it in a moment. I know. We've done it this time. We've done it this time. But yeah, we're going to have to swap that. Now, while I'm here in this view, yeah, what I want to do, I want to start prepping for the cows. They're going to go to this area here to the left, pretty much straight where I'm looking now. But this little bit that we're on now is going to be like a track here. And then the cow barn is going to be at a higher level, kind of a second tier. So pretty much at the level of that kind of tree or bush in front of us, I guess. So we're going to have a bit of a drive to get up to it. I think that's going to look cool. I think it's going to look realistic. It'll also stop the cows from sort of walking in thin air, I'm hoping. So that we do need to do. Now, obviously, we've got to pay for the landscaping, and there's going to be a bit of cost to that. So I do want to make the most of fertilising while it is available, so that we can afford to do that in the quieter months. Now, it's hopefully, yeah, it's working pretty good. This tractor is impressive, by the way. It was a third-party mod. I did download it. I think I got it from King Mods in the end, because what I find with King Mods is, although, you know, it's an unofficial mod, it's not on Mod Hub, I believe King Mods kind of does the best job of verifying the original mod creators. They have a process where they check it, so you don't end up downloading a stolen mod, or, you know, a mod that someone's created and someone else has taken all the glory for. So for that reason, I do like King Mods. However, the amount of adverts it's got at the minute is just annoying. There's so many adverts. You try and download one thing off of there, you load up about 6 different internet pages sometimes. But it is worth it. At least you can kind of make sure you're getting the original. And, you know, whoever's created it and put a lot of time into these mods, at least I'm downloading from the correct link. So that's good, isn't it? Now, I tell you what, we are going to need a lot more seed. A lot more seed. I've barely done one single headland, and we're nearly empty. We are nearly empty. I think I missed a little bit there, didn't I? There we go. Right, we'll go as far as we can go, but this is going to be a job for the pickup, I think. I did, just as I'm passing this big stump there in the ground, I did have a look at kind of stump grinding mods to see if I can get something a bit more realistic, cost-wise and looking-wise, I guess, for the machinery that we've got. Doesn't seem to exist, so for a minute we're just going to have to work around it, I think. And then once we've purchased some bigger equipment, maybe a bigger tractor, then we can justify using a bigger, heavier piece of machinery to get rid of that stump. Unless anyone knows of anything. If you know of anything, that would be great. Right, we're out already. That did not last very long at all. Not at all. Now what I'm going to do is reverse this up to the bridge. Just about there. Without falling off. And obviously, we'll go make the trip in the pickup truck. Because that did not hold a great deal. So let's jump in the pickup. Let's just have a sanity check. We've got plenty of fertilizer there. I want to say this was leased, but that's good. We're going to be using that more, I think. And then that I'm sure we bought, didn't we? I'm kind of reminding myself of what we did here because it has been a couple of weeks since I even, to be honest, even really logged into the game. And again, like I said, it's put me off the game, but it's not the game's fault because honestly, this game is just awesome, isn't it? You're probably watching it because you agree, but the amount of variety that you can have in this game, you know, it is a simulation game, there's no doubt about that. I love the fact that I can kind of create that story mode from a game. It's not something you can do with your average game. But talking about games, in the background, I have, whilst I was frustrated with this game because of the recording, I have downloaded and been playing a little bit of Starfield on the PC, and I tell you what, it's probably Scruff's fault actually. For kind of, I watched his initial episode and I thought, yeah, I might download that little game. And I think I've probably put, I don't know how I found the time, but I've probably put a good 50, 16 hours nearly into that game. In between the day to day and doing a little bit of recording here and there. I don't know how I found time to do it. Probably through not sleeping, I expect. But that is an awesome game, by the way. I'll be interested to know if you've played it and you've got any little hints and tips. But I feel I've played so much of it now, I'm kind of turning into a bit of a Starfield guru. Right, I nearly drove straight round to the back. I need to buy these bags first, don't I? Now, given how much seed I've just used, honestly, this Maize Plus, I love how it's got sheep feed and things. It's really good. It makes me a bit nervous getting into things like cows, because it's certainly far more difficult than standard. But it is great, the amount of variety. A part of me wonders, can I just plant potatoes? I mean, it certainly looks like you can. In terms of the symbols that are on the actual cedar itself, it certainly looks like you can, but I don't know. That probably works out a bit cheaper though, doesn't it? £40 for 50 litres, £30 for 24 hours. A no-brainer, isn't it? Right, let's just go with this time. But I'm curious to know, if anyone does know, could I have just bought that potato pallet for £280 with 1,000 litres and then use that almost as seed potatoes to refill the actual potato planter. Would that work? Maybe I should have tried it. But then, maybe that would be too easy. Maybe. Right, these hopefully have spawned in the right place now. Yeah, I can see them there. So because these are bigger bags, I am hopeful these will be big enough. Now let's just reverse up. And we'll just AVE them all into the back. If you have been watching it, by the way, what are you thinking of the roleplay story mode at the minute? I do quite like to tell a story. These episodes are far easier to make, no doubt about that, because I don't really have to edit a great deal. You know, I can just kind of talk rubbish, which I'm pretty good at doing, by the way, if you haven't noticed. Talk rubbish, not have to do a great deal of editing. Just get the video uploaded and released. It's great. Story mode, probably. Well, you know, I said I lost an hour and a half of recording. That hour and a half of recording I had to redo, by the way, was a 30-minute episode from your point of view. That's all you've seen of it. So there's a heck of a lot of stuff you have to do which isn't even on the screen. And then you've got to add on all of the time it takes to edit what you don't see out, which, you know, sometimes I can put 2.5 hours into a 30-minute episode of that series. It is a lot. It really is a lot. But it is worth it. Because I just really like doing that. Now, why is it not letting me back in here? It always has that weird little bug, doesn't it? When you've been picking up bags. There you go. Wrong button. Right, let's go. Hopefully we don't lose any of these on the way back. And hopefully that's enough as well. I don't want to get too much. We can't afford to be wasting money. Okay, here we are back at the yard. So I'm kind of hoping with the dodgy bridge situation, I can reverse this up to the other side of the bridge and just unload between the two. Let's flick it back to this view. Let's get the back opened up. And that works pretty well. That'll do. Probably not great for the suspension, but that will do. Right, let's get this loaded up. I did just notice then as well, kind of need a bit of fuel in that truck. So obviously I've got the settings on, you know, as hard as possible in terms of that realistic side of things. And I'll tell you what, it's gone through a heck of a lot of fuel, just driving backwards and forwards. Oh, nice to see it's doing that weird little thing again. I prefer these bags though, it's got a nice animation that shows you it's actually unloading it. Those other bags, it didn't actually show you anything. So I do prefer that. Until it does that. Right, that must be that full. Right, let's get back onto it. So I don't know, I think at this point, I've been recording for about half an hour. So it's not going to be a short episode, which is good. It's not going to be too bad at all. And hopefully, minimal... Oh dear, I didn't turn it on, did I? Minimal amount of editing. I'm recording this Wednesday morning, by the way. I've just got back from the school run. The 50-mile school run I have to do every Wednesday and Friday. So I might even, if this doesn't take long to edit, this might even actually be out on Wednesday. So this is kind of almost live. Or as certainly as live as I can get anyway. I do really want to get into streaming. I still haven't figured it out. If anyone watches this and does the streaming on YouTube, I wouldn't mind giving me a little bit of advice. I would really appreciate that. Even if you find me on Discord, you can probably just search for UC on Discord and find me. But it would be cool if anyone can give me any hints and tips. I normally, my go-to man is UFG, but he's busy at the minute. The chap's got a lot of stuff going on with work and stuff, so I haven't spoke to him as much as I normally do. But he's normally my go-to. He's like my instructor. I'm like his Padawan. But yeah, that would be cool. I do want to get streaming, and I really want to get streaming actually on that Saskatchewan map before I bite the bullet, sell everything up, and move on to probably the American Falls map. That's kind of what I'm thinking. because, you know, I like to keep it crossplay only on that series. And I know that that map has been released just for crossplay now. And what I'm definitely thinking about doing is sticking it on a server. So I'll actually record and play my series on a server, but have some selected people who enjoy the game and want to play it realistically like I do, working their own farms in the background. I think that'll just add a nice little element to the series. So yeah, if you're interested in that as well, by the way, then let me know. Now, I'm just curious, while I'm planting this, and I'm getting a little bit of tyre slip, am I actually ripping up the ground I've just planted? Does that actually affect it? Because if it does, with these kind of slip mods installed, I'm probably going to have to be really picky about the way I plant this field. Also, this uneven ground is a little bit of a nightmare to try and plant. Now yeah, is that wheel slip, it's typical, the shadow's in the wrong place, is that wheel slip causing me to lose what I've just planted? I can't tell. It definitely is, by the way. It is, as I'm slipping, it's tearing up the field I've just planted. I'm assuming I'm going to lose that yield. So what it's making me do, and I love this, by the way, this is exactly what I wanted. It's annoying, but it's exactly what I wanted. What I'm going to have to do is go slow, keeping it real. So, you know, instead of sticking the accelerator on full whack now, I literally have to go slow to try and avoid the tyre slip. Otherwise, I'm just literally ruining what I'm planting. But also, what it means I'm going to have to do, and I'm really going to have to put some thought into this, is either replace these tyres with wider ones, more suitable ones, ones that have a little bit better grip, or, you know, really put some thought into the next tractor about what kind of jobs it can do, because yeah, it's not ideal, it is annoying. See, then it wasn't too bad, like, I didn't lose anything because I was taking it nice and easy, but I just had a little bit of tyre slip then, which was almost unavoidable, and I've had to replant it. So essentially, it's not very cost effective. Doing the same thing twice is never an efficient way to work. Okay, we are done. We are done. Let's turn that off, check out what we've got. It's pretty good. I do like the texture of potatoes actually though. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Got some random little bits here. This is where I've had to fix all the slippage that I've had, which is why it looks a bit odd. And you can definitely see in certain areas where the slip has affected it. Now, will that affect the actual yield? Will it not grow in those points? I don't know. There's another bit there, let's see. Got a bit of slip there, and I've lost that kind of planted texture. So, I don't know. Be interesting. It is what it is, by the way. If we do lose that yield, again, it just encourages you to make sure you buy the right equipment. This here I'm going to have to grass over, I think. This is pointless. And this here, I don't know. I might have to do a little bit of landscaping work there and try and level this part out. But not a bad job. Considering, you know, we're using equipment that's probably actually older than me. Doesn't look too bad at all. So yeah, I think that's job well done, if I'm honest with you. Now it does flag up in the corner there, the pH value. I'm going to use things like the pH value because we've paid for it. So it is a little bit low now. So potentially we could top that up a tiny little bit over the coming episodes. We'll probably do that on an episode where there isn't a great deal going on. But for now, that's a big job well done, and it's a job I've been waiting for and wanting to do for quite a while. So definitely we'll be looking at contracts coming up for additional money, which is going to pay for the kind of the works to get the farm, the cow barn in place. Because I do want to get on with that. I do want that free kind of fertilizer going as quickly as possible. And obviously the sooner you get the cows, especially if they're young, the sooner they'll grow, the sooner they'll start producing milk, they'll breed. It's just an open invitation to money once it actually gets established. So we do need to do that. And then a greenhouse, probably stick it down here somewhere, to be honest with you. Yeah. So not a bad episode. I'm quite happy with the outcome. Considering I've not been on this map for a while, it's nice to get straight back into it. Hopefully you have all enjoyed it. And hopefully I can start to, now that I've got no recording issues and no controller issues, I can start to get a couple of these out in the week going forward. That would be nice. Time permitting, of course. But anyway, until the next episode, more than likely going to be the story mode on the weekend. Thank you very much for watching. Give me loads and loads of comments as always. Gives me something to do to reply to everyone every night. And until then, cheers and gone.